Yes.
Not massive on the ownership, right?
No, I hate them. No, I detest everything about it. The worst thing to have ever happened to Chelsea Football Club.
He still thinks he could beat me in a 100-metre race.
It's impossible. Do you know the difference? Do you know the difference between an athlete? Honestly, it's impossible. Well, you know the two people that have managed to eclipse Guardiola? It's Klopp, who didn't play that style, and Antonio Conte at Chelsea, who didn't play that style. So the only way so far that it's been proven that you can beat Guardiola is to take the game to him in a different way. Yeah, if you just try and be a B-Tech version of him, like Arteta has done or whatever, it's cool, but you finish second.
What's happening, people, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Plate on the Stomping Ground with my co-host Troy Deeney, who sits on my right today, and opposite us, Chelsea Rory Jennings. How are you, sir? Thank you for coming on.
It's an honour. It's an honour to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I must admit, as honoured as I am to be here, minorly intimidated. Minorly intimidated.
I take it that's completely all by me and none by Troy.
Yeah, exactly. It's all focused on you. No, I mean all my own doing, of course. But,
yes. I don't think it's that peak, to be honest. I mean,
No, it never is. We had. I think what we should do. We've got the clips.
The clips we do.
Have we got them there to show?
We should have the clips there to show.
Okay.
I don't know how well and cut down they are, though. We've got transcripts, which might be better, where we've picked up the key moments of what we said,
so anyway,
which I think is probably the best way to start.
So as this is being recorded, our duet will go out Wednesday. Oh, is that now?
Yeah.
Come out today?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. There you go. So I'll just film, you see. I'll leave all the business up to the main man.
And obviously, the thing with Troy is he's divisive, right? And I picked up on that, and we went through a couple of things that
divisive.
How about
divisive? That? Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. Yeah, sticky one still.
But yeah, I kind of knew what you meant.
English language already failed me there. Whenever you go through social media, you'll see clips of the big man, as you guys did.
Yes.
Now I often do the same, and I've picked up on many of these clips when speaking to Troy. Now, obviously, you've had your opportunity to listen to it, and I suppose we'll paint the picture. People would have seen the episode. It was the sort of be quiet and speak until you hear a player better than you. Now, Troy, on your end, do you want to give a little bit of the backstory that you basically said now?
So the context is obviously working for CBS out in New York. They've obviously got the phone. Can we do the social? Said, yeah, no problem. We do it. And the first person they sent was Wilfried Bone, ex-Swansea, Man City. I went, he's better than me. And they were like, no, that's not how it works. And I was like, yeah, but what's the dynamic to better? I would say he played for Man City, played international football, so technically he would be better than me. If you said who played more games in the Premier League, then I would be better than him. What's the
what's the metrics
parameter?
Here?
What are we going off? And they kind of went, it didn't work. And then I think the next one they said was like Crouchy. And I know Crouchy anyway, so I was like, he's better than me. And they were like, this is how it works. And I was like, oh, so you just want me to shut up and do something for the hits? I said, yeah, cool. And then that's why if you see on it, there's a few times it broke off because I'm talking to Nigel Rico, because Nigel's had to come over and be like, it's just for socials and no one's going to take it that seriously. Do you know what I mean? I was like, all right, cool, no problem.
Now, I, on the other hand, said, are you not sort of mudding yourself there? Because you are then allowing people to have the opinion that you would have. They're not meant to know.
But also at the same time, but let's be honest, and this is where we got into the conversation, if you're taking me at 25 with the mentality and the mindset that I had, I would not say any of those players were better than me.
Which is why you became a professional footballer.
Exactly. Yeah. So everything I said in the pod that's now out, you will now go understood. But what also happens, for more context, I don't do social media.
Right.
So what we have on our little thing is he comes and just throws me a clip.
Yeah. And the clip was us reacting to your clip.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I went to town on you.
Gross.
Yeah.
You got over it. I mean, right.
Yeah, so I think that's probably where we should bring some quotes in.
Okay.
And this is where maybe we use context, and we use, obviously you film different podcasts, you do as well. And then we start maybe going into the podcast argument of do you ended up saying certain things that you've probably said because you know it's going to lead to. So I don't mean you specifically, I mean in general.
But I think everyone gives their opinion. And I will never say something that I don't believe in. So when I did that CBS thing, when they asked me to do it, all right, go into 25-year-old version of me. I would say none of them, I felt at that time, none of them were better than me. The reason I said Vardy was better than me, because that year he went and won the Premier League.
Yeah. No,
So,
I
do you get what I mean?
I think it's very natural for any athlete, any sportsman, particularly a sportsman that's made it to the top, which you did, to have that mentality. You can't. I don't think that you can get to the top if you don't 100% like unilaterally believe in yourself.
And again, that's why it's such a. I like doing those things because it does create debate. My son, my 15-year-old son, doesn't like when I do it because he's like, "Dad, this person said," and
then they end up reading the comments.
It's fine. But it's just a case of this is why I love football. It's opinions. This is why I actually go to your bit and then
no. So I was just going to read a couple of quotes,
go on, then.
which I feel like are a little bit almost. This is so nice that it's almost been squashed before now. Not that there was anything really ever to squash precisely. But I have seen him, and I think he's a nice geezer. But his opinion on football is as valued as my fucking toenail. Rory's opinion is worth as much as my toilet paper is worth. Now, I will always play devil's advocate. I brought in the boxing argument, and I said, well, if every boxer said that about me having an opinion on boxing, then I wouldn't have a position or a leg to stand on. You can still have an opinion on a sport while being a fan, right?
Of course.
And that's basically what I said as well.
But that's what it is, isn't it? Like football, and what makes football so brilliant is the fact that everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody believes that they can do it better than you. Everybody, and I also think that part of the opinion and analysis, it's almost irrelevant how valued it is. The point is the topic, is the conversation. Yeah. So
totally agree with that.
So I don't think, you know when you said that the Rory's opinion is as valuable as toilet paper.
Not me.
But even as a concept, I would kind of agree. I would kind of agree.
Toilet paper is quite valuable as well. If you've had
I don't think that anybody should put major stock into
what anyone says.
No,
and I think that's what's so good about giving everyone a voice to have an opinion.
And that's why when this had finished, I knew how my things get clipped up and shown. Right, literally the first call I made was to you.
Yeah,
and he was in Vegas at the time, playing poker, which I do want to get into and understand about that, because that's something we need to get into, about a little trip to Vegas. It's the only way my missus let me go. But it was like, look, I knew what I said, I knew how I said it, and I knew why I said it. But that ain't how a clip is received now, is it, if you get what I mean?
No, I mean, the idea of nuance on social media, that totally goes out the window. So the context that you've had the opportunity to bring because we're having like an hour-long discussion.
Yes.
You can say, my mentality, my rationale, X, Y, and Z, and then...
You can't get out in 15 seconds.
Immediately it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that isn't what social media is.
Of course.
And I don't think that's what people want it to be. I think what people want from social media is the opportunity to be outraged, offended, annoyed, and they want
control
what they want you to do. The worst thing you could do, the worst thing in the world that could have happened in that clip is for you to rationally explain it. The point,
because then it kills the clip and it kills the virality of it. Yeah, it does.
It's mad. It's mad to think that though, because I always think I'll always stand on my opinions with everything. Because I don't think I ever, going back to your point, I don't think I ever do anything for somebody else. If I understand the meaning of why these things work for CBS, for example, all right, cool. But I need to put myself into a rationale of 25-year-old me wouldn't have said Nicholas Bentner is better than me.
Exactly.
Exactly. I can go into that space. I think what's really interesting for me, Rory, with yourself is, because this has been, I think I met Rory, I want to say 7-8 years ago, and you was working, but I think you was on talkSPORT, but you wasn't with talkSPORT at that point.
Yeah.
Who was you working with before talkSPORT?
So,
because you've had a full journey.
I've been going into talkSPORT now for about 4 years. Did we meet? Was our first time?
No, but I think it was a talkSPORT event, but you was there.
Right.
You know, like normally, like, so basically, like Adidas might have an event on, or FIFA would have an event on, and you was there. And I just remember you and talkSPORT, but you was with the Birmingham lad who's a Man United fan.
Adam McCullough.
Adam.
Yeah, were we at the F1?
I saw you at the F1 recently.
At the F1,
that was 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, but I've met you before that.
Right.
Anyway. So anyway, saw this at the event. And again, don't know each other, but how are you, mate? Nice to meet you. Then, you know, when you see someone, like a red car, you see loads of red cars afterwards.
Yeah.
Just kept popping up on the timeline, and he was talking about Chelsea and frustrations. And then I thought, okay, interesting to see what this guy's like. City One, talkSPORT, I was like, oh my God, like... He's a bit lively, this fella. Do you know what I mean? But then every time we've had an interaction, been lovely.
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
But you see, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I've only
Might not
known
be
you.
the same for you.
No, 100%. Troy, do you know what, Troy? The reason why I was always happy to come and do this because you've only ever been a gentleman to me.
Oh, thank you very much.
What will never happen though, and I think this is why there is a respect and why we get on, is the way that you speak. You're very candid, open, and direct when you speak about football.
Yeah,
and I sort of do the same, which is why we're here because I saw that clip. Despite now fully understanding your rationale, I disagreed with you.
Of course.
And on the show that we did, I passionately disagreed because my mate Adam McCullough, who is the guy that you're referencing, he's on yours. He was saying that you're better.
Yeah, no, listen, I know Adam a long time.
I think there's a Birmingham loving going on, isn't there? There's a Brummie loving going on there. Yeah,
but I just think, look, when it's all said and done, like it's here to spark debate and spark conversation because. The fundamental thing is it could be a game of football. I'm right here. You're going to look at it from that lens. You are and I am. We're all going to look at it from different lenses. So it's great to have that. But one thing I did do, and you know what was really nice, and we're going to stop with the nice shit after this because it makes me feel a bit sick. But so anyway, I've sent Rory a message and I've been like, look, sorry mate, I don't know where you are. Is it okay if we have a quick chat? He's gone, yeah. Anyway, I had the conversation. He's then messaged me back, gone, I think you're a really nice guy. You're the first person that's ever told me something's coming. I did think that was a nice time because you didn't have to do that. In fairness, I didn't do that to you. I didn't extend the same courtesy to you. We had the conversation. I knew that clip would go out, and I didn't extend the same courtesy to you. I could have got your number and made sure that you know. So you immediately went 1-0 up because you behaved in a better way than I did. You gave me I think that's just who. I just don't. I don't know. I just think this is who I am.
Yeah, I thought that was a very chivalrous way to do it. He gave me a call and just said, "Look, just so you know."
Wait, where are you getting these long words from? Because this might not be the podcast for you. Chivalrous.
Very chivalrous. Yeah,
that's a very articulate man on the podcast.
It was a very gentlemanly. It was a very gentlemanly thing to do. To go, look, Raw, just so you know, in the next week or so, you're going to see a clip where I go for it, and you're going to, and I think it's important that you know that's coming.
Okay, well then let's go on to the wider podcasting topic then, because both of you have your opinions, and both of you, like I suppose Troy had on your opinion, and like you had on Troy's speak until be quiet.
We don't shit the bed like you and not have an opinion.
No, I'm the most impartial.
Still on that fence. There's a sensible way to be. It's a sensible way to be.
For the time being. Do you feel like you're put into positions, and I don't necessarily mean for this, but I mean maybe for talkSPORT and other podcasts you film, where you're led into saying things that you don't necessarily believe in?
Literally never.
Really?
Literally never. I don't think it's possible to make me do that. Like I do when I say things, even things that have been proved massively wrong, I will have a rationale for that. I will have an equation that leads to that answer. And if it's wrong, I'll often hold my hands up and say,
do you own it?
Of course.
I'm not going to sit here and say I've seen all of your work to say that.
No.
I've seen enough of your work when you are on the other end right. And then you let everyone
the thing
know.
is, nobody makes TikToks are the ones where you get right. Do you know the thing? If you make a pig's ear of it, if you make a pig's ear of it, if you get a prediction wrong, it will fly. It will go viral. If you get one right, I don't know. Last year I said Villa will qualify for the European Cup. Nobody cared. Yeah, nobody cared. That doesn't go anywhere.
So in your algorithm, and it didn't do anywhere near as good as the negative was.
No, I mean the Erling Haaland clip.
Yeah.
Where I suggested that Erling Haaland would struggle. I said I didn't struggle as much as it's been portrayed. I said he'd get 15 goals in his first season in the Premier League. He won the treble. Right, so obviously it was about as wrong as you could be. But
what was the rationale behind that?
So the rationale was, in the previous summer, Chelsea had signed Timo Werner, Kai Havertz. We'd seen Jadon Sancho come to the Premier League from the Bundesliga.
So you were working Germany to England.
I was saying that having an exemplary record in the Bundesliga, as Timo Werner did, doesn't guarantee you goals. I was also saying that Premier League football is so hard. So there is a chance that he could come here, be a brilliant player, but it's going to take time. People going, he's going to win the Golden Boot. He did. But I was like, he is never going to score more goals than Harry Kane. He is never going to score more goals than Mohamed Salah. Not because I knew that Erling Haaland wasn't. I just thought that those two were so good.
Yes.
Like, so good. Like, those two could easily go down in, like, best Premier... the conversation of best Premier League players of all time. Absolutely. Those two were 100% in that conversation. I didn't think that this new player that was going to come to the Premier League to join a new team and establish a team was just going to land and do what he did. I was wrong. It will go down as my Alan Hansen moment.
But
the methodology was there. It was just wrong.
And I love that though. I love when people have a conversation, but I think this because of that. Whether you're right or wrong, just that you have the intellectual capability to be able to go, I think this because of that, and it may translate to this because all of us are predicted.
Yeah.
We're all.
Well, let's use last week's argument.
Go on, what was last week's?
Viktor Gyokeres. And after filming, he went and scored a hat-trick.
Yeah.
So actually, what do you think now, as in a player of his calibre moving into the Premier League? Now, Troy has
not just into the Premier League.
Okay, into like an
you said,
Arsenal.
No. You said Man United.
Going into United.
Man United.
Reuniting with his old manager. To be honest, I still think there's jeopardy there. I think that there is a chance that it could go really well. But I think that there is still a conversation to be had. What it isn't.
Sounds the same, doesn't it? Sounds the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think with
a
Manchester United, yes, I agree. But we actually then we spoke about Arsenal. Now, I think if you threw him up top at Arsenal, and this is where you said differently because you said...
I still don't think so too. I still don't think he does. So this is a bad example, but it's probably got to go to your logic. So Bertrand Diaz,
it's going to get pulled up.
No, I'm saying as at Blackburn, as an unbelievable season. Everyone goes, "Oh my God, this is the guy. He needs to go." Goes Spain, am I right?
Yeah.
Goes Spain, doesn't really work out,
Villarreal.
and then comes to you guys, and I saw him against Wolves.
Sheffield United.
I saw him at Wolves. Well, Sheffield United, but whatever. Seen him at Wolves when he came on against you guys. He literally ran the ball out of play 3 times in an 8-minute cameo. I'm like,
signing a player, and Gyokeres isn't quite this, but I do always think you've got to be very careful signing a player off the back of a purple patch. Like, simply having a really good 6 months.
This is my argument.
Troy,
so I said
Troy also made this argument.
So we can pull it up. I know he's doing well now, but when he was at Cov, I want to say he got the 3 years before. I think he got 4 goals in 3 years.
Yeah,
he hits the ground running. Obviously, he scored. And the thing is, he is young, so you do have to give him that. He is young, but in these teams at Sporting and at Coventry, he was getting a lot of chances. The team is built for him. When you go into Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, it's difficult,
and the pressure's off as well. It's a very different game. It's not far off a different sport.
Okay,
scoring goals for Coventry and scoring goals for Manchester United. They're a million miles.
Yeah, I agree. I think my point was that I think now when. And I always use Southampton as an argument because I'm a Southampton fan. Ultimately, we struggled in the transfer window and we tried to cheap out on a striker, which you can't really do, right?
Yeah.
Any Premier League proven striker is going to cost a fortune, and any English striker is going to have an added price tag added to that. So ultimately, we failed recruitment-wise. So now you're looking at Manchester United, for example, and they need a proper striker, really. Rasmus Højlund's not really taken off.
Yeah.
But you remember when they signed him, whatever.
He was going to be the one to change it because he runs in behind his
similar to Haaland. Where they got it wrong, where there is no jeopardy, if they'd signed Harry Kane from Tottenham. Like, that is that's as close to a guarantee as you're ever going to get in football. Look, you do have examples where players have scored goals in the Premier League before. I don't know. We signed Chris Sutton when I was a kid. He scored loads of goals for Blackburn. He was one of the worst strikers.
No, of course. But I think my point is that night he then went and scored a hat, and then Troy instantly hit me back with 2 penalty goals, right?
No, I said, because the thing is,
did you or did you not?
Yeah, I did. But I'm saying to score a penalty isn't easy, and I'm not saying that to do myself, but my point what I'm saying is the way he messaged me was like...
he's pinging them in.
Yeah, he's got 3. He's like, all right, 2 of them are pens.
Yeah.
He has to score both, don't get me wrong. But you would also say, and I had this conversation with a Man United fan the other day who was adamant, now this is where they take over City. You know how it all gets.
Yeah, but we've seen that for years.
But I'm saying, if you watch that first half of football, objectively, Manchester City should have been 5-0 up. Against Sporting.
Agreed, yeah.
So if they do that whole game's turned on its head. I know I get all that.
Fine.
It's not. We would be having the same conversation now, and you'd be going, couldn't do it against Man City though.
Yeah.
Look, and
I think it was more off the back of your judgment as to Erling Haaland, and obviously we know that's been sort of debunked, whatever. But the point is, I think coming from, you've got to come from somewhere, right? And if they're not going to take a Harry Kane or something like that.
But my argument is, so Brighton, we would argue, have probably got the best recruitment team. Yeah. We would argue in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Why did they let him go?
Yeah. I think it's a good point. But there is
always
jeopardy.
get
It
wrong.
might work out. But you know when Chelsea signed Caicedo, that's more of a banker. Like there's a proven trajectory, track record.
Yeah.
You tried.
Whereas Gyokeres, it may work. Of course, there are examples of players coming from other leagues and doing the business. But I just think that scoring goals in the Premier League is a challenge not comparable to scoring goals anywhere he scored goals before.
I agree.
Like, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's so elite.
Just because you brought up Caicedo, and we're just talking about recruitment in general, I feel like this whole summer has been dominated by you boys, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Was it £1 billion in total since the new ownerships came in?
Yeah.
What now on reflection? Because I don't think even the most hardened Chelsea fan thought this was going to work out the way it is. It's working out really well at the moment.
Is it? I think that's interesting. Is it? I mean,
I think it is.
You can argue it is.
Yeah.
And when you point to a league table when Chelsea are third, you go, of course it is.
Yeah.
But look, we're as close in points to Everton as we are Liverpool.
You're not massive on the ownership, right?
No, I hate them. No, I detest everything about them. The worst thing to have ever happened to Chelsea Football Club. Like, I really hate them.
Okay. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, absolutely. We're passionately and happily. I certainly will. I don't think they have the best interests of Chelsea at heart. I don't think they have any interest in
pure business
the club.
model.
It's pure business. It's sort of disgraceful business.
Yeah.
You look at the way that they're ripping off the fans. You look at the way that if you think about the way that they've treated some of the like Chelsea kids.
Yes.
Conor Gallagher is a good example. Trevor Chalobah is a good example.
I agree.
So no, I have absolutely no love for the way that they're doing it. Of course, on some level, you have to concede that it's working because we're third in the league.
Yes.
But we've got 4 points more this season than we had last season. And last season was seen as 4 points. Look, it's part of the reason that we're third is because Postecoglou is, in my opinion, right for a sacking.
Yeah.
I think Postecoglou's getting it so wrong and nobody really likes to talk about it because they like him. Arsenal are having a nightmare. Like, we shouldn't be above Arsenal. The reason that we're third is because Arsenal have gone to pot.
Yeah, other teams under.
Yeah, Arsenal have gone to pot. Manchester United are 13th.
Yeah.
That's why we're third, isn't it?
Yeah.
So look,
it's why Forest are up there as well, isn't it?
It's why Forest are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the points tally to get up there, it's not insurmountable anymore.
Yeah.
So
The league this season's not.
Yeah,
what it has been
the reason
over
I
the
asked
course of
about Chelsea is because you mentioned Caicedo. I think there's one that keeps going under the radar, in my opinion, is Fernandez, Enzo.
Well, he's not good enough to play for the club. That's the problem.
Okay.
So a
He's
lot
not
of
good
my
enough to
mates
play
who are
for the club.
Chelsea fans say he's lazy.
But would you not?
Do you agree with that?
I think he looks lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
I'd
don't
accuse
think
him of
anyone's
being.
lazy,
Yeah, I think he looks lazy, and the reason he looks lazy is because what he's not. We're going back to the like rigorous nature of Premier League football. To be a good Premier League player, you have to be so busy, so fit, and he isn't. He's a bit he's a bit laboured.
Just get your neutral opinion, just on what you said. To play in the Premier League, you got to be quick, robust, whatever. He still thinks he could beat me in a 100-metre race.
It's impossible. Do you know the difference? Do you know the difference between an athlete? Honestly, it's impossible. In anything. Have you ever played for? It's an amazing thing.
No, but we're not talking football now. We're talking.
It's an athlete. It's an athlete. You couldn't beat him in anything.
Fine.
No, literally at nothing.
What
no
I will
sport.
say.
You ever played
what
darts?
I will
against him?
say.
He'll beat your darts.
He
will.
wouldn't. No.
He will.
That is factually wrong.
I promise you.
He can't reach the dart.
Hey, you better not fucking laugh as well. You have no leg to stand on that one.
You see how I jumped on that as well?
Yeah, Troy.
Troy.
Absolutely no leg to stand on that one. No, I mean, we're not doing this debate again and again. Basically, every episode he brings this up and we end up
because Charlie, I swear to you, a sportsman, an athlete.
Yeah, but he's not now.
Yes.
Troy, respect.
No, I'm not now.
But
I was for 17 years.
No, but they
he's
just
not
are
now.
They just. Have you ever played football with a former pro?
No.
Mate, it's mental.
Of course.
No, but it's mental. No, I'm talking about.
We were thinking about doing. We're doing coming up. We've got a little five-a-side thing that we're doing, and that will definitely.
You do realise you won't touch the ball.
No, fine. Yeah, which is absolutely fine. Troy said as long as you've got legs.
I had this. I played in the talkSPORT one.
Yeah.
And at one point, I did. I played this year.
Were you up with us?
We won. No, I wasn't with you then. At one point, I'm playing.
Was you with O'Hara?
I was trying really hard. I was with O'Hara.
Yeah, you was on the opposite team.
I was with O'Hara.
Do you know
what happened at one point? Went to me. So you would suggest now. You know how you said, Troy, you're not anymore. I assume you'd extend the same sort of approach to someone like Gabby Bonalho. You're not anymore. You would say. At one point, they went to me, right, Rory, Mark, Gabby. Mate, it's mental. It's absolutely mental.
By the way,
I swear to you, it's
That doesn't
mental.
surprise me. Because
Gabby's
that's
been
not
retired longer than me.
Yeah,
You're
I
not.
know. No, but the points are being so far stretched, right? I'm not being asked to sit and mark you.
But you
Are you saying you couldn't deal with
But
how
it's
fast
the-
he's
it's the
moving
way that you
and how
move.
Just the intelligence,
Yeah,
just the
the way
strength,
you move.
the way they
But
hit
he's trying
the
to-
ball.
no,
No, but
everything.
that
He's trying to
that
say-
I agree
he's
with.
trying to say in a
I
straight
never
line
once
from
said
here
I
to here,
could.
the 100 metres.
It's
I
impossible.
do him. I do him.
It's impossible.
I do him.
It's genuinely, it's funny.
genuinely, I
you
do.
should do this
That's
for charity.
fine. And
but
we're doing it.
you
No, we're
should.
going
But
to do it.
You will get so badly beat.
But that's fine also because I'm like such a like
No,
I'm
I
a
think you
performing
need- do you
fucking
know what?
seal,
I think-
right?
I think
so
you
if
need
he
it.
smokes me, I think you know as well. I will actually like love it either
I think
way.
you kind of need it as well because it will redress your, because I had
It'll
this when I
humble-
played
it'll
football
humble
with
it. Yeah,
when
yeah.
I had the luxury of playing football. You know, I was sharing a
that
football
team-
pitch with
that
Darren.
team we had was
it was amazing for me.
So they had Benty, Dean Ashton, Jamie O'Hara. Trying to think who else.
Dean Saunders played.
had a
Phil,
few.
was it Phil Brown? Was Phil Brown there?
Possibly.
Yeah, there was
it was a good gig.
at one point I was trying to take the ball off Jermaine Pennant.
Yeah, so it was me. Our team
Like
was me,
ridiculous.
Jermaine Bennett, Gabby Bonahor.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
few
Darren
others.
Ambrose.
Darren Ambrose, yeah.
Who was a mate. Like honestly, and do you know what? Like actually
How
having
serious
this
did he get,
conversation, of course, that's the other thing. That's the other reason you won't beat him because athletes don't let you because they are mad.
I know that for whatever reason, and I'm still standing on business, by the way, we can bring it up to every single guest ever. And by the way, like no one has ever fucking agreed with me on this point. And I will still die on the sword until we do the 100-meter sprint, and I'll be happy to be proven wrong. But like,
I'll be happy to prove you wrong.
But do you know what is quite interesting about this though? Like having this conversation. You know, when I talk about footballers, and I think I acknowledge I am a YouTuber. That was, you know, now I've been really fortunate. talkSPORT have welcomed me in, but predominantly I'm a YouTuber. what I always kind of think, but I don't say because it's just unwritten. You know, when I say a footballer, he's crap. He's crap. He's the worst player to have ever played.
Everyone does
No,
it,
but you know when I do that, it's all done it's all done on the acknowledgement that these people lived my dream. These people have done yes. So I don't know. In the past, I've been very scathing Harry Maguire.
Yeah,
really scathing. Obviously, when I say Harry Maguire's crap, I don't mean he's
but
crap.
you mean at the level.
I mean he's crap for Manchester United and in England.
know that, which is
No,
why
you know
I
what?
then
You'd be
had-
surprised how
He's
many
10
don't.
times,
Which is why
he's
then
1,000 times
I had
what I could even dream of being.
with Troy in the last episode where, albeit he's going to have whatever opinion on the comments you said, but I was like, just because someone is not involved in the sport, and I know that you don't think this either,
no, we don't,
but it's like, we are still, so if you were to call Harry Maguire crap, for example, that's not, you think he's shit and that you're better than him.
No.
And
it's also said with an acknowledgement that he's lived my dream.
But can I give you one point that every athlete would ask? And I remember I said this, and Declan Rice messaged me on Insta about it, and I said, I would love one day that we just did like, you know, like your, I don't know, let's say for like Chelsea lads might want you, for example, like 10 YouTube lads that are all Chelsea. Let's have a little mini game at the training ground for 10, 15 minutes.
It would be hilarious.
Just to just so the lads can go, this is what it takes.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think? You know that game that we played, the game that we played at talkSPORT? We should do that, but we should do the pros versus, and I put together, and do you know what would be hilarious? I could put together like a good YouTube team, like what we consider to be
like a
brilliant,
high level,
like the best player, the best player in Power League.
Yeah.
Literally don't touch the ball.
Yeah.
You literally don't touch the ball because Darren Ambrose, Jamie O'Hara don't let you.
Yeah.
And it is as simple as that. But I sometimes think, you know, when we have these conversations, particularly maybe like the way that I phrase things, that point is lost. Absolutely. I sometimes worry, like when I go, Harry Maguire's useless, he don't deserve to captain Manchester United. Obviously, on the scale of he is Manchester United captain. If I've ever met him, it would be an honour to meet him and shake his hand. Like, it's just,
you know what I found though? Most lads they like the fact that you say that. No, they don't like the fact that you'd say that. But if you was to meet them and be like, "Hi, I'm this," and then they said to you, "What was that you said about me?" and you went, "Oh, I thought this." They would all be like, "Oh, sweet," because you're not like. I think the interpretation from inside the sport to outside it is that people are doing this to benefit themselves.
For the camera, and then if it was put to them, they would be like, we were pressed to say this or something.
I've been out of
like
the game since Jan last year, and in this media space, bumped into 4 different. I won't go into it individually. 4 different lads and their team or their agent or family, and they've all, oh, you said this about me, and I'll be like, yeah, I did, yeah. You know,
although, do you know what? I think it's a slightly different thing because you're coming from a position of making it in football. So your criticism, I think, would be.
Well, they actually said it hits harder because it's me.
It hits harder, but I think it's also more legitimised. Whereas with me, it's literally who is this bloke? I think it becomes. But there's only once, I think, in everything that I've ever said, I think there's only once where I've potentially gone further than not at the time.
Yeah.
There's one where I sort of regret going as far as I did.
Can you talk about
it? Yeah, absolutely. It was on talkSPORT and it went. You know, sometimes sometimes on Talk, it goes. Particularly when they used to put clips on Twitter.
And it's just sparked.
Yeah, Mason Mount. When Mason Mount left Chelsea, what I did, I took it quite personally because I loved him.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you just revert to being a 14-year-old who's totally
immersed.
And I felt it was a betrayal when I referred to him as like Judas, Mason Iscariot, and all that. That was probably too far. That was probably too far. And also, if you think about what's happened since, it doesn't paint my words in a particularly good colour because what's happened since is they forced out Trevor Chalobah. They forced out Conor Gallagher.
Yes.
It would suggest,
but you have been fair though in your then same assessment of the ownership.
Yeah,
I think where that wouldn't be fair is if you were still like, this is still Chelsea, we're the greatest. Do you get what I mean? And these guys leaving, you kind of like they deserve to leave. Yeah. I just find with it all, you're talking about talkSPORT. I think you asked me a few times about this. talkSPORT is great, and I think people believe when we go on there, we're like, here's a little script. And if you can mention Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, that will get people voted. That's not what they do at all. There's certain shows that are designed for cooler interaction.
Yeah.
So they will not the Hornets.
You're talking points to tee up. But
normally, it's a proper well-run show, and people have their opinions. And 9 times out of 10, they are people's.
I love it on there. Do you love it on there? I love it.
Yeah, I'm really enjoyed it.
I have it on because all my life.
Yeah.
I've had it on all the time. Can I ask, when you were driving to Watford training,
I'd have it on.
talkSPORT on?
Yeah.
That's why I find it amazing. You know, when you think of like the
But lads still listen to it because I get lads message me.
Do you?
Yeah. I've had lads who are playing in the Prem now message me like, oh, good show.
Really?
I like that point.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't think I've ever had it on. I don't think I've ever driven my car and not had it. It's just on in the car. It's just like a thing. It's just on in the car. Yeah. But and it's on, and you think that that the players.
I get lads messaging me.
But that's how consumed we are with sport as a whole. That even when you're not working, and even when you're not filming with talkSPORT.
Yeah, and it's so tribal. You see how consumed everybody is.
Yeah.
This is why when you say things like this is why that clip that you goes everywhere.
Of course.
Because everybody cares. It's
really
an amazing zeitgeist. Like everybody's into it.
I was starting with Chelsea, then we kind of got digressed. But I want to ask you another question around Chelsea. Where did the love for Chelsea become? And actually, answer that. The second part of the question is, recently Enzo Maresca has spoken about Reece James and his captaincy and his...
Yeah, he's quite scathing about him.
Yeah. What would you like from Reece James? Because I have my opinion on it. So let's go with that question first. I have my opinion on it.
It's difficult with James, isn't it? Because I truly believe that Reece James is the best right back in the league if he's fit. But I'm extending a courtesy there that he's just never fit.
Yeah, he's never fit.
He's like never fit.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a ridiculous stat. I think it's like 14 games over 2 years or something like that. Yeah. Which is it's just a gift if he's available, isn't it? There's no you can't hang your hat on him. You can't guarantee that he'll be there. And then,
what did you feel when you heard the manager say that he needs more from him?
He's been seriously honest though, Enzo, since he's come in.
Maresca's comments though, whether they're true or not, I think the question becomes: is it his place to say it publicly? Publicly, do you need to say that Reece James isn't a leader?
I would argue he's already had that discussion with him,
right?
And what we're seeing is the second, third, maybe even fourth. Time of trying to get that point.
Because you know what I thought was harsh as well? You know the players that Maresca suggested are the leaders?
Yeah.
They're all younger than Jack. Didn't he say, I think he said Tosin Adarabioyo and Levi Colwill?
Yeah.
They were the two that he said they're more leaders in the dressing room. Which, I don't know, he's not at the club anymore, but say you said Reece James isn't a leader, Thiago Silva leads them.
Yeah.
You go, well, yeah, all right, Thiago Silva leads Brazil.
Yeah. But you're putting that down to age and where have you been and what have you won.
Yeah.
What I believe to be true is, what do you do around the place?
Yeah.
How often are you working?
Yeah.
Are you talking with others? Are you helpful? Because people have this perception, right, that let's say footballers work 10 till 1. Let's say that's the time. Most footballers, if it is 10, will be in at 8:30. They'll have the breakfast there, they'll have physio. Right. By the time it gets to 10 o'clock, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
There's still probably meetings and stuff to happen. You're probably not on the pitch at 11. But a lot of lads turn up at 9:55.
Yeah.
And then they just stroll in. But if you're a manager and your manager's been there since 7, 6, and every person you see walk in is not the captain first.
Yeah. No, it's a bad look.
And he's not first, he's not second, he's not 15th.
Yeah.
He's second to last. And then when he comes in, he's one of the last into the meeting. He's one of the, and it's like, hold on a second, you're one of the first to leave.
Yeah.
Now, it's not always based on what times you get there versus what time you leave, but it does leave an impression.
Yeah, I think there's something in that though with Reece James in terms of like his dedication.
Yeah,
I do think that there are there's a clip of us of like the players doing yoga.
Yeah,
and he just can't do it, and he's kind of mucking about.
Yeah,
trying.
But that to me says a little bit about whether he's got the I don't know what the word
desire.
No, the vulnerability.
Yeah.
To be like, I can't do this. So perfect example of that. We had Will Hughes at Watford, it was at Palace now. Hughes, he couldn't touch his toes, do this. He couldn't do it. So they brought in a yoga guy for everybody, but really it was aimed at a few like Hughes that were stiff, kept getting injuries, kept having bad backs, and he couldn't touch his toes. Difference with Hughes was, made a joke about it.
Yeah.
Like he was like, all right, can't do it, but I'll catch you soon, lads. And it went weeks, months. And by end of the season, he's touching his toes, he's more flexible. And I think he went on his most uninjured run in his career at that. I'm not saying it's all down to yoga, but at least he was humble enough and vulnerable enough to go, I got to catch up a bit here. Yeah. I don't see that with Reece James.
How good do you think he is? Like, when I just said, I said he's the best. I said he's the best fit.
I don't disagree. I wouldn't say he's the best. I'd have him in my top 4, but I wouldn't say he's the best. I still think Kyle's the best, Kyle Walker. I just don't think anyone could get just the pure athleticism of the fella. He's a freak.
Yeah,
I think Trent is the best technically. I don't think anyone can pass a ball like him, dead ball or roll him. And then I'd probably put Reece James somewhere.
Reece James, Ben White.
I'm not a big Ben White fan personally. Right. I think he's more of a centre half.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably argue third.
Do you know the problem as well? It gets to the stage, doesn't it, sometimes with the player where you're like, if I'm constantly saying he's the best when he's fit and he's never fit. Like when I talk about exactly.
That's what I was going to say. Can you really make a judgment on that? You're now making that judgment on the player based off previous seasons.
Yeah.
You can't currently.
No, it's all legacy.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what happens?
It's not like a current argument. You don't actually know.
You very quickly fall into Marcus Rashford territory. We start talking about potential,
the player that he was,
and if and what, and you're like, hold on, he's 27.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why isn't he that? But the question I wanted to ask you about Reece James, and it's probably like how I think he should do it. And you tell me if I'm wrong. I don't understand how these young captains now don't phone up a John Terry. I know John's on the side of the academy. Phone up a Frank Lampard. Get in touch with Didier Drogba. What's it like? What does it mean to be for this?
But this is really interesting because you know where I saw an insight to this, not at Chelsea.
Yeah.
When Cristiano Ronaldo went back into Manchester United, do you remember what he said about the young players? He basically went, they don't listen. Like they're not. You know, you would think that if you were a 21-year-old at Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo comes back, bearing in mind that season he scored loads of goals that season. Remember he scored a hat-trick against Tottenham.
Yeah.
So God,
it would be a gift, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be a gift if you're a young player developing your craft and you get to train with Ronaldo. Ronaldo basically said, pinnacle, these kids, they don't want to know. Like they aren't interested in learning from me.
Didn't you suggest that about the younger generation a little bit towards the end of your?
Yeah,
I know your perception was skewed a little bit because you said that the love for the game in League One and League Two.
Yeah, I said it's different because it's more of a business. These guys are earning, trying to. They're not going to be able to retire after that. Yeah. They can live comfortably, probably have a house paid off, but they're still going to have to work. I just said when I was in the Prem and High Champ, we never spoke money. it was all about how do we win? Because
everyone's
getting paid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we went mid-champ, it was a little bit of both. The younger players are going, I can see the Prem, I want to go. The older players are like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to, let's try and squirrel it away. Then I went to League 2 with Forest Green for a short while, and it was like, everything was about money.
Really?
Like, everything. Yeah. It was like, who the fuck cares? Like,
do you know what, Treat? It's
deliver
interesting.
and do it.
Do you know why it's so interesting? Because I think that the society sees being a footballer only as an amazing job. Right, the best job in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas what they don't think of being that like League 2 player where you're slogging and you go to your missus, I've got some good news and some bad news. I've got another year, but we're going to have to move to Torquay. It's hard. It's a really hard life.
A lot of people don't move well. A lot of people in League 1 and League 2 are living 1 year, maybe 2 year at best. And again, to average people listening, they'll be like, oh, but it's a job. But they're never really settled.
No,
you don't know
hard,
if you're coming or going. If you want to take the risk of running that final year down and you get injured,
you can't take the risk at young. You can't take the risk at the lower level though. Like if you're playing for Arsenal and you're only 300 grand, of course you can take the risk. Of course you can take the risk, but you cannot take the risk. Can you? It's
difficult. And I just think with Reece, just to circle that off, just to go with Reece, I just think, why wouldn't you? It's all there. If the manager called me out, this is again with different characters, I totally get that. But if a manager called me out publicly, I'd go, right, so what's he asking for? So the next morning, would knock his door and go, what is it? Why? Because you've called me out. I'm not too sure you understand why. Ask him to lay out why. So if he said leadership, attitude, fitness, availability, let's say you put those three. I go, right, leadership. Who's been the great captains who've been here? Right, go to the secretary. Can we get these guys in on, let's say it's Monday, get them in on Wednesday?
Yeah.
A, they're going to come in because it's Chelsea. B, I'm going to be in. So they're going to feel like they're connected, so they're going to do it. Secondly, right, fitness. Right, I need to go and speak to the fitness guy. What are we doing wrong? Because he's hammering me here, but this is also a reflection of you. So out of the three of us,
but this is your work ethic, isn't it? This isn't Reece James's work ethic.
But I wouldn't want anyone to doubt. You can call me a prick. No problem. You can call me whatever you want. You ain't going to call me out on hard work and the simple things. The foundational things of who and what you are.
The thing that I would suggest though with Reece James, maybe making him the captain was part of the problem. Like, I don't think he is a captain. I think he at one point was the best. This is a problem we've got because we're such a young squad. There isn't an obvious captain. Like making Enzo Fernandez captain, it was one of the biggest transgressions that Enzo Maresca's ever done. Like it was off the back. Firstly, he doesn't start for us. He's not a very good player for us at all. Secondly, think of his conduct in the summer. To then get given, like, how on earth can you give someone the captaincy of the club off the back of the conduct?
Yeah.
So I think part of the problem that we've got is that there isn't an obvious captain. But Reece James, I think that it's going to get to a situation with Reece James where you kind of go, I don't know how long we can persevere with this. Like simply calling.
So I was going to literally just roll straight that into what's happening with Ben Chilwell. What's happened?
It's the system, isn't it? This is a Maresca thing where the system doesn't work for him.
We brought him on in an EFL game not too long ago.
Yeah, he cast him aside completely. Yeah,
then he brought him
back in.
And now he's not getting a look at it.
Ben Chilwell's too good a player to be... we've got a B team, haven't we? That plays in a conference league.
You can basically play a complete different...
We actually have a B team. And it's crazy who's in the B team. It's like Joao Felix. It's like Joao Felix and Christopher Nkunku. It's like really good players. Mikhailo Mudryk.
And they played against Noah's Ark.
And they played against Noah. Yeah. Like 8-0. It's like a waste of time. But Ben Chilwell can't be in that squad. Like, he just can't be. Like, he was integral to us winning the Champions League very recently. Yeah. I think that if he was fit, he would have been playing for England in Germany in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
So I
was calling that he should have went.
I think there was an argument.
If you're going to take Luke Shaw,
you should have taken. But you can only take so many injuries. You can only take so many.
Where there's a bit of doubt, and you're like.
But no, I really don't know what's going to happen with Ben Chilwell. I think that those players that Chelsea have now become so preoccupied by system. It's not about are you a good player. It's about are you a good player for this particular system. And if you aren't, I don't really see how there's a future for you at the club because Maresca, he's system
quite
over everything.
On that as well.
System over everything.
But I never liked that because, and it goes back to.
Mate, your manager's exactly the same.
No, I know, which is what I was going to. Yeah, but at least with Enzo, Enzo will come out and he'll put a name on the player. Whereas what I don't like about Russell Martin is, for example, the Leicester game. he brings players on, and then in the post-match interviews, there were certain players that we bought in the summer that should have done their job there. Well, don't say that. Yeah. Either don't make the comment or say the player.
Yeah.
But this system thing, I find it so annoying.
And,
it doesn't allow for the beauty of the game.
Yeah, but
doesn't allow for the maverick.
Is that not just like that? Just goes back to the whole Pep argument that we seem to have every topic in just the Premier League. It's literally like
there's a
team will set up to a system.
A Brazilian youth team coach is basically he's renowned for bringing through like Ronaldinho, all of them.
Yeah.
And the quote is something to the effect of he calls it the perfect grass syndrome. And the guy's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We'll never have another Ronaldinho, Robinho." Yeah. You go through the list. Yeah. He's like, because they all play on perfect pitches. They never have to worry about bobbles.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen. They don't have imagination to like, how high is the goal? How many times as a kid did you score? And you go, so we'll go, nah, hit the post. You're like, nah. We're posted in.
Yeah.
But like you're thinking where the goal could be. And he's like, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Now it's robots, machines.
You don't get the Mavericks anymore. Because basically now, if you have a shot, unless you score, your manager will be livid. If you had a shot from outside the box, your manager will get you'll get subbed for that.
So when you were manager of FGR and we were going through the detailed analysis of clip by clip, I don't know, say you're playing...
I was doing the XG stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now managers will then bollock you if you've had an opportunity, and you can sort of have a rough estimate as a manager. I think you said X amount out.
I don't think it's about bollocking. I never think it's about bollocking. I think it's about showing what could you possibly do if that situation arises again? Because it does. But the beauty of football is, and I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, no same scenario is ever the same.
Yeah.
So you could get a penalty. You could have got a penalty against Leicester from a winning position of Southampton, and then you could get 1-0 down against Wolves this past weekend. That's same penalty, completely different circumstance behind it. One is you've already got a buffer. It doesn't really matter if you miss because you're winning.
Yeah.
The other one is if you miss this, the game's gone.
Yeah.
And the nuance of it is so...
It is so annoying. You know when you think of... you see when you would have been coming through?
Yeah.
Football would have been its greatest, I think. There would have been Mavericks about. There would have been
I was 2007.
Yeah, which was a great year for football.
Yeah, when I made my debut.
Great year for football. You know, like if you think about the players that were doing the business in the Premier League, it was exciting.
It was proper.
Goals from outside the box. Like when do you see a headed goal now? You know, like in terms of
wide to the
oh my god.
Yeah, but the weekend from a great ball from Neto at the back post. Now I understood why. No, it wasn't Badawake, it was Gustavo, so the right back.
Yeah, Gusto,
headed it over. But like to me, in my position, that was like, oh my god, that's bread and butter. All the paces on the cross, it's like just head it down and you score. But I just think when you look to football now, it's not all the way boring because you still get Bournemouth beating Man City and Arsenal, for example, Nottingham Forest beating Liverpool. But it's so close to being. This is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Let's start watching. Let's start watching it in March.
The thing that's so ridiculous about it as well, you know, the two people that have managed to eclipse Guardiola. It's Klopp, who didn't play that style, and Antonio Conte at Chelsea, who didn't play that style. So the only way so far that it's been proven that you can beat Guardiola is to take the game to him in a different way. If you just try and be a B-Tech version of him, like Arteta has done or whatever, it's cool, but you finish second.
I feel in a weird way, and I think this is kind of sad, I don't know how you lot will agree, but just from watching, I've been going to a load of games as a neutral over the course of the last couple of weeks, and we talk about the same style of football. Weirdly, I went to Fulham Brentford the other night. That was actually, it was good, but it wasn't. I think you messaged
it was a shit game until the end.
Awful until there was 5 minutes left. But I've never seen, and like I say, I watch Southampton week in, week out, and all it is pass, never fucking cross the ball because no one's fearless enough to cross the fucking ball anymore. So pass it, go out wide, all right, let's take it back. Ultimately, it goes back to the centre-back. It might then end up out on the left wing. Oh, we got it on the edge of the box. We work our way back. It just feels a bit... I don't know how many fucking shots they had to have from outside the box or trying to
because risk taking isn't encouraged anymore. You have to be ready to... Like when Chelsea were brilliant, you know when we had like Duff and Robin?
Not just dreadful to watch?
They would make mistakes though. They would get like Arden Robin would try and beat you.
You've just segued into a beautiful part of football.
He might lose the ball. But if he doesn't lose the ball, we probably score a goal.
Like that's just completely...
But do you remember, I was talking to someone about this the other day. You know when... I don't know if you remember the clip I did. I said when Haaland was doing what he was doing last year, I said there's been 3 people that have made us change our styles in terms of Premier League. Thierry Henry, in terms of a striker.
In a good way, though.
Yeah, in a
great
good
way. Yeah, in a good way.
Didier Drogba.
Yeah, totally.
Because everyone was playing two up front until he came and they went, oh, fuck, we could go with one. Yeah. And then Haaland now. Everyone wants that poacher at the end. No one wants to, with the greatest respect, Harry Kane come in and link it. That's somebody else's job.
Yeah.
So you were just talking about it. I was saying, I remember one of the early games when Mourinho took over, you played Wigan and it was Hernan Crespo.
Yeah, last minute.
And yes.
Hernan Crespo's goal.
And Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank up front.
Yeah.
And I remember going at the time, oh my God, these are two fucking legends. Because I used to love Italian football.
Yeah.
Two legends. And then they bought Drogba from Marseille. And I was like, why have they bought this kid? Never, don't get it.
Yeah.
And then I saw him play. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, Mourinho stuck his reputation on it, didn't he?
It took a while, didn't it, to get it?
Yeah, because we had Idiger Johnson at the club and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. And the geezer that
was doing all the gear and that.
Yeah, Adrian Mutu. Yeah.
But he actually got done for doing gear. It's not my opinion.
No.
I realised that. We're not going to be live.
I didn't think you were just out here dropping defamatory claims.
But Mourinho basically put his whole reputation on signing Drogba. He kind of just went. I think people were sceptical.
Yeah.
And he went, just bring him and I'll bring you the league.
Yeah.
And he did.
I remember, man. So fucking good. That's
so good.
Scotty Parker. Like, there was unreal players like Scotty Parker, Steve Sidwell, that never even cut the... They never got in, but they were so good.
You looked at that Chelsea team, it was international captains in every position.
Yes.
Like, Scott Parker was a sensational footballer.
Yeah.
But at that level, he couldn't compete. Like, he's not better than Michael Essien, not better than John Obi Mikel, not better than Frank Lampard, not better than Claude Makélélé.
No, after that, you went fucking Michael Ballack and people like that.
I don't know. Not being better than them, you're still an elite footballer.
Absolutely.
You just can't compete with Michael Essien, who was a icon.
I'm wary. Well, I suppose the whole thing's, but a little bit wary of time. Thomas Tuchel.
Yes.
Now, I was
England
really
manager.
Before we get into England, I wanted to do that, so I apologize.
Well, it was on a Chelsea kind of tangent.
Yeah,
but
so the reason I said that, because Simon Jordan, obviously, I work with a lot. His take on Tuchel, and I don't know if this is because he knows people at Chelsea at the higher level, is he leaves a path of destruction everywhere, wherever he goes. He didn't want him at England for that reason.
Right.
Now, again, you're more... invested in Chelsea than any of us. Would you say A, that statement is true, and do you understand why he's saying that, and B, did that give you any reservations about him being the England manager?
I mean, I've got major reservations about him being an England manager, but not for those reasons. Okay. I think he is the best manager that England could have appointed. My argument is that he shouldn't have been appointed because he's not English.
See, I just don't. Cool. I can't get that.
He's not. He's the only people that should be on that shortlist, in my opinion, are English.
People.
Yeah,
okay.
But will you stand by that if we go and win the World Cup?
Well, I'd argue that we didn't. Even if we win it, who's won it? Germany won it, right?
No.
England and Germany won it.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree,
England and Germany.
Because ultimately it's the 11 players that are fielded, right?
Well, I mean, why? Surely
they're English.
International football is like a representation of what you offer.
I would agree. I think I'd get where you were coming from if we hadn't appointed foreign managers before. But we have. It's not the first time we've done it.
I think when we go back over the pulled up the clips from what we did before, I said at the time, it's in a no-win situation for the FA. Because we had Gareth Southgate, he was English, did well, I thought did well, got us so far, couldn't get us over the line. And everyone was like, not brave enough, we need to go and get some, we need a winner. That was the key thing, we need a winner. Yeah. Right, so then you break it down to the two questions. Is there an English winner available? No, there isn't one. There's not an English candidate available.
Precisely.
So we go and get this winner, but then we get this German winner. It's like, we wanted the winner, we just didn't want that winner. And it's like, either way they did it, they were fucked.
I just think it's not dissimilar to sticking. So Tuchel is a better manager than Howe, so we've gone and got Tuchel. That's kind of the way. Right? It'd be like going to me. It's like going, Rodri's better than Declan Rice. Why don't we put Rodri central midfield?
I understand the logic. I do understand the logic. I didn't see there was any standout one. I know everyone's pinned their hopes on Eddie Howe, and I
didn't see a standout.
No, there wasn't.
But
that's the pool that we're fishing in.
Of course,
It's all very well going. Like at the moment, Chelsea don't have a standout centre half, so we play Levi Colwill there because that's what we have available.
And you would rather that?
He's been the best one out of all of them.
Really?
No, I wouldn't. But that's the rules.
Yeah.
We can't. What I really want to do is play John Stones there, but he don't play for us.
Yeah.
I think that the England national team should be representation of the English pool of talent.
Suppose.
And
I think
both people disagree with each other. Everybody watching this will agree with you.
No.
I think so.
We've got some
I think
sense.
you have your. I get where you're coming from, but history proves that that's not been the case. So I feel
Here's
like
one
it's
thing
one
that
of
never
those
gets
if
discussed,
but
and I'm
maybe
interested.
arguments, because it's all well and good saying
Because
it.
I'm in the middle of, I understand, but I'm in the middle of both your points. So here's an understanding. If you look at what Spain did, what Germany did after failing, they all went, right, let's tear it down, start again. So they invested in the youth, in the setup. So they also went, we're going to have German managers or Spain managers, but we're going to invest in the coaches and we're going to do it this way. Would you have preferred us to do that? From an England point of view, because then we build the pool up.
Do you know what we've done though by appointing Tuchel? We've almost made a mockery of the 7 or 8 years that we wasted on Gareth Southgate, because the point of Southgate. Do you remember what did they call it? It was Howard Wilkinson's thing. It was the St George's Park pathway, right?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So if you persevere with Southgate for all this, if you're gonna just rip it up and not do the English thing, why don't we do it for Russia?
Why did we go?
Go and get Mourinho for 18.
That.
Go and get Mourinho in 18.
Yeah.
What I like now, it's an 18-month contract, and Thomas Tuchel has previously done well in short amounts of time.
He's a great cup manager.
And
He's a great cup manager.
His knockout record's absolutely fantastic. It's not a long-term appointment, as we've seen, and I think the problems in the past have been fallings out with the board over transfers and not being backed the way he wants to be backed, as in it's his way or the highway.
I think he is wild though. I think he is wild.
He's
It's not necessarily a bad.
No,
calling him
of
wild
course.
isn't necessarily negative, but I do think he's wild.
But you then eliminate that problem. So there's three things there. He's a good knockout manager.
Yeah.
He's not going to have an issue of going, well, you can only pick English players from that criteria, right? So it's not like, oh, come on, back me. Like, it's the FA backing the players up from the grassroots level in building. So you've got British players. So then to me, I'm like, and it's an 18-month appointment. Three things that just fit to
It basically means if he doesn't win the World Cup in America, which I don't think we will, it's a complete waste of time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a complete waste of time.
That's my point. That's my point.
It's a complete waste of time and money.
I understand the logic of doing it for 18 months.
I think right now it's a good time to be fearless and make
an
an appointment like that, though. It's not safe. It's not safe.
Do you know why
and I like that.
I'm going to sound like a negative
safe?
England guy now. I don't think it's going to be right, because Spain are going to be better.
Yeah.
Brazil are going to be better. There's a chance that Brazil go into that, by the way, with Pep Guardiola as their manager. Just an FYI.
I mean, you'd
chance
almost assume in that World Cup,
Brazil
in that
being
climate,
better.
we're going to be playing games in Atlanta and Miami. You've got to
Yeah.
assume that the winner of that World Cup will be Brazil or Argentina, right? Like, just law of averages.
Yeah.
A European team winning that World Cup feels extreme.
Yeah.
So it's up against it.
By
anyway.
the way, these teams, I'm not saying they're going to go win it, but so just go with me on this. USA got a new manager.
Yeah. Good manager.
Very good
Very good
manager.
manager, yeah.
Who apparently turned us down, by the way, is the reports that are coming out. So Spain are going to be better, who just built to the Euros. Germany are probably going to be better. France are probably going to be better. Portugal, probably going to be better.
And then all those South Americans.
Then all the South Americans.
England.
No,
Just
just
better than
they're going to be
themselves.
better than what they already
But are
did.
we not going to be?
Based on what?
Based on not playing the same
I guess the
football that we've
argument
gone
for
and
us being
played for
better
8
would-
years.
Mate, we can't even get out the Euro Nations League.
But Jude
Yeah, but we've
Bellingham.
not- yeah, but how
You know
are
when
we
you think
making
about
this
our young
argument?
players
He's not
in another
managed
2
us
years.
for one game,
Like,
so we can't say that.
I do think it's interesting though what you were sort of alluding to there about, and look, Simon Jordan's going to have way more knowledge on this than I could even dream of. But I do think there is something interesting about Tuchel's. If you look at his time at clubs, every club in like last 5 jobs, he gets shorter and shorter each time.
Their
Each time,
tolerance for him drops. Doesn't it?
Each time it seems to end.
I've got one
quicker.
thing to end on because of the time.
Go on.
Cole Palmer. We spoke about him. We had a. What was the clip you asked me about? If he was considered stupid or
yes.
something. Yeah. Or,
So I feel like the media now are picking up on certain things, and I saw a clip from ITV basically, and they gave him a date, and they went, "What date?" And then it's like, "Oh yeah, Cole
No,
Palmer
I hate
thought-"
this.
Yeah.
I hate this.
so I'm in the same thing.
Yeah.
I was looking at it from. He's clearly an unbelievable talent. Clearly.
Fantastic.
So it's like a 2-pronged question. Is he the future of Chelsea,
Yes.
first and foremost? There, you've answered that quick. Secondly, do you believe for England to get to where they need to be, they have to make a decision between Jude, Foden and Cole Palmer,
Yes.
who is the main man?
Yes, and it would be the brave thing. It's actually what Gareth Southgate should have done in the summer. Like, you have to be really brave, you have to be ruthless. And look, I don't think this is the answer, but if you believe that Bukayo Saka needs to be dropped. A manager needs to be ready to make that. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But if you believe that, you have to do that. What you can't do is cowardly pick the names. Like the easiest thing to do is to leave Cole Palmer off because he's the youngest, the newest.
Yeah,
the easiest thing to do is that. Yeah. So you do need to do that. But I also think that Cole Palmer is I can't remember a footballer, maybe Gianfranco Zola, making me feel like this.
Okay.
Like sometimes,
Even Hazard.
Sometimes it feels different. It feels different. Hazard did it, and at times, like that 19 season, I've never seen anything like it. But Hazard had the season off here and there. It was,
he had a few games off as well, didn't he?
Yeah, a few games, but a few seasons.
I'm with you.
But no, Cole Palmer, particularly at a time where I feel like my love of football, not the game and what the game should be, but like I hate VAR. I hate it. I hated lockdown football.
Yes.
There's so much about football that I don't, like this sanitised stadiums now. Like there's so much I don't like. That Cole Palmer has just like rejuvenated my love.
Sorry to interrupt you. Literally just come through, so we have to do it. Claudio Ranieri has just gone back to Roma.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful, because that's full circle for him, isn't it?
Yeah. It's literally just come through.
Because he retired. So he's out of retirement to go back.
He retired at Watford, didn't he? After Watford.
These owners, they're doing change. If they go into Everton, which is looking like they will, the same owners, Sean Dyche are going to be in trouble, man, because they keep changing.
They'll chop either way, won't they?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But do you know what? And then on the thing that Charlie mentioned there about the perception of Cole Palmer and this desire to make him look dumb,
which I think there is from the media, by the way.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it's not only media when you say media, it's not broadsheet newspapers. No, it's also TikTokers. Yes. And you know what I mean? They're all on it.
I went the opposite way.
And it's a liberty.
Yeah,
it's a real liberty.
I don't think he's actually, and I've seen a couple of things. For example, I see he done some video of his sister, and he was like, "Oh, see, I'm not dumb." I mean, there's obviously elements to it, but I don't think he'll be offended.
Do you know what I think is very important to acknowledge of it? Okay, he might not be the most articulate, but he is far cleverer at what he is clever at than any journalist writing. Any journalist who's written about him isn't as clever at their chosen field as Cole Palmer is at football. Cole Palmer is the most intelligent man on a football pitch at his tender age. That ball that he played through,
Neto. When he played it down the line, Newcastle was it?
Yeah, inside. When he played it inside, he picked the ball up on basically the edge of his own D.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of genius, if you want to flag genius, right, there's many ways that you can be a genius, and simply using, like, flouncy language doesn't make you a genius, right? In the way that you would say, you could be illiterate and be a genius. Like rappers in the... Like,
of course, Like,
you can... And Cole Palmer...
Floyd Mayweather,
Cole Palmer at his field...
Absolutely.
Cole Palmer at his field is an absolute genius. So this desire and portrayal to try and justify labelling him fool... And as much as it is, don't get me wrong, it's tabloid journalists, broadsheet journalists, but the people that really wind me up, it's the TikTok... The 19-year-olds with the TikTok.
Giving it love.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I've got one final question because this is the final bit. Well, let's have a question. We've got Gianfranco Zola coming in.
You have not.
On the 18th.
You haven't.
So, one question for us to ask Gianfranco from you, please.
Okay, this is. Do you know what happened? And this is a testament to his honour and his just the personality that he is. He was at Chelsea. He left when Abramovich came in. Yeah. Because he had an agreement, a gentleman's agreement with Cagliari to go back to his...
Yeah. I remember.
The new ownership with loads of money, tried to make him stay. Mm-hmm. If he had stayed, he would have won a league.
Yes.
But he chose to go back to Cagliari. Mm-hmm. I'd love to know, does he regret it? Does he wish he stayed? Because he could have gone, he could have been part of... He could have been part of the new Chelsea.
The Mourinho Chelsea. Yeah.
Could have been part of it all. So, but wow, you've got Zola coming.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that goal because me and him have never spoken about it.
Wow.
So he's in England next week.
He's a true hero. Tell him as well that they should have a statue for him built at Stamford Bridge. Honestly, There should be.
We're going to clip it.
That East stand should become the Gianfranco Zola stand, or there should be a statue of him around about the Peter Osgood statue. He is the reason. When you look for a reason of where Chelsea became the club, you can go back. You can go. Maybe it was the Glenn Hoddle arrival or the Ruud Gullit arrival.
Yeah.
I think that when he came in '96, he scored a goal, free kick against Blackburn Rovers. Yeah. That was the moment that Chelsea were then destined to win the European Cup. It all started.
From that.
Never seen anything like it. Best players who've ever played for Chelsea. Best on the ball footballer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you very much for your time.
Rory, thank you, mate.
Honour.
Appreciate
Thank you so much
for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we said, I was going to say,
yeah, mate, it's always, mate, I like it here. It's like being in San Francisco.
Yeah,
I love
this
it.
side is on the way.
It's like being in San Francisco, mate. It's the trendiest place I've ever been. I feel like a hipster. I love it.
Rory, you're a legend. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the Stomping Ground. You can obviously see everything on Spotify. Like and share and follow the big man here as well as Troy Deeney, whose socials are actually improving. Hence why they always get picked up on these little clips.
Okay,
discuss them on this
I don't
episode.
do it, but thanks.
Shout out to the people there.
A manager needs to be ready to make that. I don't believe that. But if you believe that, you have to do that. What you can't do is cowardly pick the names. Like the easiest thing to do is to leave Cole Palmer off because he's the youngest, the newest. The easiest thing to do is that. So you do need to do that. But I also think that Cole Palmer is I can't remember a footballer, maybe Gianfranco Zola, making me feel like this.
Okay.
Like sometimes,
Even Hazard.
Sometimes it feels different. It feels different. Hazard did it, and at times, like that 19 season, I've never seen anything like it. But Hazard had a season off here and there. It was,
he had a few games off as well, didn't he?
Yeah, a few games, but a few seasons.
None with you.
But no, Cole Palmer, particularly at a time where I feel like my love of football, not the game and what the game should be, but like I hate VAR. I hate it. I hated lockdown football.
Yes.
There's so much about football that I don't. Like this sanitized stadiums now. Like there's so much I don't like. That Cole Palmer has just like rejuvenated my love.
Sorry to interrupt you. Literally just come through, so we have to do it. Claudio Ranieri has just gone back to Roma.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful. That's full circle for him, isn't it?
Yeah. It's literally just come through.
Because he retired. So he's out of retirement to go back.
He retired at Watford, didn't he? After Watford.
These owners, they're doing change. If they go into Everton, which is looking like they will, the same owners, Sean Dyche going to be in trouble, man, because they keep changing.
They'll chop either way, won't they?
Yeah. But do you know what? And then on the thing that Charlie mentioned there about the perception of Cole Palmer and this desire to make him look dumb,
which I think there is
happening.
From the media, by the way. I agree.
And it's not only media when you say media, it's not broadsheet newspapers. No, it's also TikTokers. Yes. And you know what I mean? They're all on it.
I went the opposite way.
And it's a liberty. Yeah, it's a real
I
liberty.
don't think he's actually, and I've seen a couple of things. For example, I see he done some video of his sister, and he was like, "Oh, see, I'm not dumb." I mean, there's obviously elements to it, but I don't think he'll be offended.
Do you know what I think is very important to acknowledge with him? Okay, he might not be the most articulate, but he is far cleverer at what he is clever at than any journalist writing. Any journalist who's written about him isn't as clever at their chosen field as Cole Palmer is at football. Cole Palmer is the most intelligent man on a football pitch at his tender age. That ball that he played through,
to Neto. When he played it down the line, Newcastle, was it?
Yeah, inside. When he played it inside, he picked the ball up on basically the edge of his own D. Yeah. Like, in terms of genius, if you want to flag genius, right, there's many ways that you can be a genius, and simply using, like, flouncy language doesn't make you a genius, right? In the way that you would say, you could be illiterate and be a genius. Like rappers in the... Like, Like, you can... And Cole Palmer...
Floyd Mayweather,
Cole Palmer at his field.
Absolutely.
Cole Palmer at his field is an absolute genius. So this desire and portrayal to try and justify labelling him forward, and as much as it is, don't get me wrong, it's tabloid journalists, broadsheet journalists, but the people that really wind me up, it's the TikTok brigade. You know, the 19-year-olds with the TikTok.
Giving it love. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I've got one final question because this is the final bit. Well, let's have a question. We've got Gianfranco Zola coming in.
You have not.
On the 18th.
You haven't.
So, one question for us to ask Gianfranco from you, please.
Okay, do you know what happened? And this is a testament to his honour and his just the personality that he is. He was at Chelsea. He left when Abramovich came in. Yeah. Because he had an agreement, a gentleman's agreement with Cagliari to go back to his...
Yeah. I remember.
The new ownership with loads of money, tried to make him stay. Mm-hmm. If he had stayed, he would have won a league. Yes. But he chose to go back to Cagliari. Mm-hmm. I'd love to know, does he regret it? Does he wish he stayed? Because he could have gone, he could have been part of... He could have been part of the new Chelsea. You know...
Yeah.
Could have been part of it all. So, but wow, you've got Zola coming.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that goal because me and him have never spoken about it.
Wow.
So he's in England next week.
He's a true hero. Tell him as well that they should have a statue for him built at Stamford Bridge. Honestly, He should. There should be.
We're going to clip it and show
That
it.
East stand. That East stand should become the Gianfranco Zola stand, or there should be a statue of him around about the Peter Osgood, statue. He is the reason. When you look for a reason of where Chelsea became the club, you can go back. You can go. Maybe it was the Glenn Hoddle arrival or the Rudhullit arrival.
Yeah.
I think that when he came in '96, he scored a goal, free kick against Blackburn Rovers. Yeah. That was the moment that Chelsea were then destined to win the European Cup. It all started. From that. Never seen anything like it. Best players who've ever played for Chelsea. Best on the ball football.
Yeah. Mate, thank you very much for your time.
Rory, thank you, mate.
Honour. Thank you so much
for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we said, I was going to say,
yeah, mate, it's always, mate, I like it here. It's like being in San Francisco.
I love it. This is the way.
It's like being in San Francisco, mate. It's the trendiest place I've ever been. I feel like a hipster. I love it.
Rory, you're a legend. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the Stomping Ground. You can obviously see everything on Spotify. Like and share and follow the big man here as well as Troy Deeney, whose socials are actually improving. Hence why they always get picked up on these little clips.
Okay, cool. I don't do it, but thanks.
Shout out to the people there.